It's not quite a city car, it's not quite an SUV either. What this is though, is the brand new Suzuki Ignis. Like the Balena, on which it shares the same platform, it's a name that Suzuki has brought back from the past. It's priced from £10,249 and it's quite a funky little machine, but what can buyers expect?
I must say, I really enjoy the styling of the new Suzuki Ignis. It looks bold, it looks fresh, and it looks funky. This model comes with the black alloy wheels, and it's also got the two-tone option, which is £650. It's finished in pure white pearl, and it has a black roof on top, which looks pretty good. I also really like the LED lights, they look fantastic. It gives the Ignis big cartoon-like eyes, helping to give it lots of personality.
Now, I'm not a big fan of the styling of the rear. It looks a bit flat and it just doesn't quite go with the rest of the car. However, I do like this design feature where how the back swoops down and this little design feature here. Now, this is actually inspired by the Suzuki WizKid of the 70s. I must say, I rather like that.
Step inside the Ignis and you'll be greeted by orange door pulls and an orange trim on the centre console, which I quite like. There's also an orange trim on the seats, which again looks rather nice and helps to give the inside some character, although I'm not a big fan of that two-tone dashboard. I just think that grey plastic looks a bit cheap and I reckon it's also going to scuff quite easily.
So Suzuki is no stranger for offering a good level of equipment at a reasonable price, and the same can be said for the Ignis. Now, the base model starts at £10,249, and for that you'll be able to enjoy features such as front electric windows, air conditioning, Bluetooth, DAB digital radio, CD player and privacy glass. The mid-range model starts at £11,749 and that adds features such as satellite navigation, rear-facing camera, roof rails, extended wheel arches and 16-inch alloy wheels. However, this is the top of the range model. It's priced from £13,249 and it adds features such as LED headlamps and daytime running lights, front fog lamps, rear electric windows, leather steering wheel, keyless entry and start, auto air conditioning, cruise control and dual brake camera support. Now, the boot of the Ignis isn't exactly what you call big. However, compared to its competitors such as the Fiat 500, the Vauxhall Adam and the Volkswagen Up, it does pretty well. Now, the base model comes with 3 seats at the back, which means that you'll be able to enjoy 267 litres of space, but because the mid-range and the top-range models come with 2 seats at the back, the boot does shrink ever so slightly to 260 litres. This has got 4-wheel drive though, so the boot has shrunk even further to 204 litres, but you can fold down those 2 rear seats to give you an increased luggage capacity of 490 litres. So in terms of space and comfort, you should find getting a good driving position rather easy, although sadly, even though it is the top of the range model, the steering wheel only adjusts for rake, which is a tad disappointing, but there is plenty of headroom to be had, which is pretty good, and the seat does have a good level of adjustment as well, so yes, finding a good driving position should be rather easy. Now, the Ignis may be a small car, but don't think you're going to be cramped in the back. In fact, there's a fair bit of room. Now, the mid-range and the top-range models have 2 seats in the back, which can slide backwards and forwards by 165mm. Now, as you can see, I've got a fair bit of legroom. Now, I'm a tall chap, I'm 6'2", but even so, I've got a fair bit of legroom, which is fantastic, and the headroom isn't too bad either. So yes, although the Ignis may be a small car with city car-like dimensions, 2 adults should be able to get in the back quite comfortably.
So there's a choice of just one engine in the new Suzuki Ignis. It's a 1.2 litre petrol unit which produces 89 horsepower and 120 Nm of torque. In this case, it's mated to a 5-speed manual gearbox and it will get you from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 11.4 seconds and onto a top speed of a whopping 106 miles per hour.
But obviously this car isn't designed for speed, it's designed for, well, this really just going in and around town, in all honesty, and it does it quite well. Now, all the controls are quite light, so the gear change is quite light. It does feel a little bit loose and a little bit cheap, but it's pleasant enough to use. The pedals are also quite light. The steering is light as well, but thankfully it does get a little bit heavier when you do get to a high speed. But I must say the steering is rather numb, in all honesty. You can also get a 5-speed automatic, although
in truth it's not a real auto, it's an automated gear shift whereby you still change gear but there's just no clutch. Plus the automatic gear shift option is not available with the SHVS system or 4-wheel drive. So personally I'd go with a 5-speed manual. As mentioned, it's not too bad. Like most modern cars, it's got stop start as well to help with fuel economy. And another feature this model has to help fuel economy is a mild hybrid system. Now, don't think that the Ignis has gone full price, because it hasn't, but it has got a mild hybrid system which is called Smart Hybrid Vehicle by Suzuki, or SHVS to make it shorter. And now, it may not be the most full-on hybrid system, but what it does, it's got an electric motor in the bowels of the car, and it helps to aid acceleration, so it gives the engine a helping hand, and it also aids fuel economy as well. So that's quite a clever move by Suzuki. Yeah, quite impressive. Now this model also has Suzuki's all grip 4-wheel drive system, and that will cost you £1,000 extra. So it also means it's got a few off-road controls such as hill descent control and so forth. And it's not a bad system. It offers more grip, but let's be honest, how many people are going to take this car off-road? I can't see many people wanting to take an Ignis off-road, especially with those black alloys, because I wouldn't want to scuff those. But yes, the engine itself, it's got a nice character to it. It's quite fizzy, it's quite peppy. It helps to give the car a fair bit of character. Although in and around town, it's absolutely fine. Yes, like I say, it's quite nippy, but take it on the open road, such as a motorway, and it really struggles. It lacks oomph and it becomes rather noisy. So this car is definitely at home in city centres. So yes, out of town, as you can hear, the Ignis does get a little bit noisy. The wind noise is audible, so is the tyre noise. And gets it up to a higher speed, and the engine becomes quite loud as well. So yeah, it's not really at home on faster roads, that's for sure. The ride of the car isn't too bad. It soaks up most of the bumps quite nicely, and around town it's not too bad. But I must confess, there will be times where you do hit certain bumps and there will be quite a thud through the cabin. But other than that, the ride is pretty good. It's not too bad. I've got no real complaints about it. So in regards to handling, it's not too bad, because it's got 4-wheel drive, it's got the extra grip on offer. But as I mentioned earlier, the steering is rather numb, so sometimes it feels like you're having to guess how much lock to put on. The brakes are pretty decent as well, but there's a fair amount of body roll, as you would expect from a car such as this. It's not too bad. I must confess, I rather prefer the 2-wheel drive version in regards to handling. It just feels a little bit more fun, but this adds for extra grip, so it's a fair compromise, I suppose. So in regards to fuel economy and emissions, this is an area where the Ignis does quite well thanks to its mild hybrid system. So on a combined run, you're looking at 65.7 miles to the gallon, and although I wasn't able to quite hit that, I was still able to hit figures around 55 miles to the gallon. And in regards to emissions, you're looking at 106 grams per kilometre, but if you ditch the 4-wheel drive system, you can reduce that to 97 grams per kilometre. But even without the mild hybrid system, the fuel economy is still pretty respectable. So in the standard model, you're looking at 61.4 miles to the gallon on a combined run and 104 grams per kilometre of CO2 emissions.
So in regards to road tax, now obviously this is quite controversial with the changes. You can expect to pay £140 for the first year with the new Ignis, and then it's going to be £140 each year thereafter. So there we have it, the brand new Suzuki Ignis, the car that's not quite a city car but not quite an SUV either. But despite this, it still oozes plenty of charm and personality. It's got plenty of kit for a good price, and it just looks absolutely fantastic. Okay, the interior plastics are a bit cheap and the steering could be better, but overall I really think Suzuki is onto a winner here. Thanks for watching guys, please subscribe for many more car obsession videos to come.